feel like there's really a different spirit in America, where people are just, first of all, they're very supporting. I find that, you know, in Europe sometimes, like, people, I'm not saying people are going to bring you down, but for example, like when I first studied, even like my family was like, were you making jewelry? It's like, but you didn't study to make jewelry. You don't know how to make jewelry. I said, well, no, I don't. But
just a narrow view.
What I just started making. You know, people put you in boxes because Europe is an older, you know, place, and it's, you know, you study for it, and your family, if your family is a family of baker, then you would probably be a baker. Here's like, oh my God, go for it, you know, give it a try, and if it doesn't work, do something else. And I love that spirit.
I love that, and I love don't let people put you in boxes.
Yes,
because I have to tell you, especially I think women get put in boxes. You're watching Chic Innovator. Stay tuned for fascinating topics, fascinating people that have style and are innovative. You're watching Chic Innovator. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, so my name is Delphine Pontvieux, and I'm the owner, designer, and maker at Nia Jewelry. Pretty much my main occupation, but I'm also kind of an artist at large because I also enjoy writing and painting. So I do a lot of different artistic endeavors and acting as well. But like, the design is my main occupation.
Right now, right?
Right now, yeah.
But I've got to tell you, I mean, what an incredible, I was reading your bio and just the history and what you've done, and you're just an incredible artist. It's got to all come from the heart, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and you were born in France,
yes,
right? Tell us a little bit about what got you from there to here to Chicago.
Of course.
And kind of why are you here in Chicago? I've got to tell you, I love France, so.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I still have all my family living there, so I get to travel over there often. But yeah, basically, like, what brought me to Chicago 26 years ago was love. So
love,
yes.
Okay.
So that's how I came over here.
So tell us a little bit, because you've done a lot of acting as well. So tell us a little bit about the acting that you've done.
Okay, so that was something that was completely unplanned. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never like thought, oh, this is something
Although I have
that
to
would
tell you, you look like a movie star, so I can understand that. I can understand why they would have chosen you.
That's nice. Actually, that's funny because like just 2 or 3 days ago, I was on the plane. I was coming back from Nassau, and there's this lady who, like, the whole flight, like, we were not really talking much, but just as we were landing, we started talking, and then she's like, have you watched the series Ted Lasso? And I've heard that several times. I don't know if you've seen
No, I've not seen it.
So supposedly there's an actress that looks like me, and she was like, you look just like her. And I was like,
oh,
okay,
I've
heard that before, and then yet still to this day I haven't looked, watched the series, but I'm told it's very good. But aside from that, so the acting came totally by chance, and it actually stemmed from one of the books that I written. I got published. I have a novel out. I mean, it's been out for a while now. And basically what happened is there were some awards that were given back in the day by the French consulate to all French artists, chefs, people living in the Midwest area. And I received the award for arts and culture. So that was actually very nice, because that year there was Joachim Noah, who was like the big Bulls player. He won in sports category, so I got to meet him. So that was nice.
Very nice.
But anyway, so we were at Soldier Field. That's where the awards was taking place, and it was like a huge event, and I was coming down from receiving the award, and then this lady stopped me, and she was like, are you French? And I was like, well, yes, I am. She's like, well, we are we're casting for a role, and you would be perfect. And And I was like, yeah, that's great, except I'm not an actor. But she was like, well, I think that you really would be good. And I said, okay, well, then give me your card. She's like, I don't have a card. And I was like, okay, scam, you know. But she's like, if you give me your email address, you know, I'll send you all the details. And so I gave her like kind of like, you know, my email address that I use for like spammy things or whatever. And I thought, okay, didn't think much about it. Then fast forward that night, I'm coming back from, you know, celebrating the win and blah, blah, blah. And then that was in the back of my head. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to check what's going on. And sure enough, there is this email from this agent. And there were some sites and information about the casting place and all that. And I had a friend who was an actor at the time, and I called him. I said, okay, this is a story. And he's like, well, that's really easy to know where is the casting taking place, because if it's like some weird unknown place, that's gonna be shady. And I'm like, I don't know, something that's called like PR casting. It's like, that's the biggest casting company in Chicago. You gotta go. And so I did, and showed up, did the audition. I had no idea what I was going to do. I mean, what I was doing. And 2 days later, my agent, she calls me and she's like, you got a second audition. And I'm like, yay. I'm like, what does that mean? And she's like, well, they want you. And at that point, it kind of became like, oh my God, that could actually happen. And then I called my friend again. I was okay, I've got a second audition. You got to give me some pointers. You got to teach me. And sure enough, thank goodness, he helped me out. Because when I came for the second audition, it wasn't just like, all right, say the lines, you know, then they were like, okay.
I want to hear the pointers. Give us just 2 or 3 of the pointers that he gave you to look out for. Because we have so many people that I know are listening to this and thinking, what was she wearing? What did she say? You know, but especially when you went to the second, what are the pointers?
So, I mean, if you're going to an audition, I mean, obviously that's different from acting or shooting an actual scene. But what I've learned is like basically, yeah, you don't want to ever like look directly at the camera, because that's kind of creepy. Like if you're looking at a your television set and someone is just like talking to you like that,
unless you're doing The Office, right?
Well, exactly. Or you're doing a horror movie or something like that, But usually like, and I'm not talking about talking over there, because that's completely bad either. But it's like literally just a couple degrees off, where the camera is. So that's one thing. The other thing is speak normal. This is not theater. It's not, I am so excited to see you. No, it's like TV series or movies. It's literally like as we're talking right now. So you're doing the same thing. You're talking in your normal voice. That's why there's microphones everywhere. And you don't want to, overdo the expressions. Literally like, I would say TV or movie acting is actually like basically not acting. Mm-hmm. It's just you being in the skin of your character and just becoming that character
and relating. Well, it sounds like they knew you were the character. It sounds like you were the perfect. Did you get hired for that one?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And actually, that was like the first movie that I was in, and that was this movie called LOL Laughing Out Loud.
I was going to say, is that LOL Laughing Out Loud? Because you've done a few of them, right? That was a Lionsgate.
Yes.
So
and that was with Demi Moore, Miley Cyrus, and Ashley Greene.
Huge.
And there was a lot of like big names in it.
Yeah.
And the thing that is funny is the director, Lisa Suelos, is French. And she had originally done the movie in France, and that was a huge box office. That was like the biggest grossing movie that year. They came out. It was with Sophie Marceau, who I don't know if you know her, but she's like a huge actress in France. Here it didn't go as well for numerous reasons. One of them being that I think it was taken a little bit too literally, and there's a lot of difference between American and French culture. So there were some jokes or things that people just thought like that would never happen. Well, it would happen in France, but not necessarily here.
Ah, okay.
And then
so was it a little lost in translation?
Well,
of
yeah.
culture?
The problem is that when it came time to do the promotion for the movie, there was a lot of things that happened, and also like Demi Moore was just going through a separation with Ashton Kutcher at the time, so she was not in a good place.
Yes.
So that kind of like nixed the promotion and the premieres and all that. So from there on, then it was just like, all right. So
But how incredible, I mean, you got to meet her and obviously Miley and stuff, and somebody like Demi Moore, the transformation, how her life has now transformed.
Actually, I didn't have any scenes with Demi. But I've met her later on set of Empire, because she was in one of the seasons. I can't remember which one. I want to say third season or something. So yeah, I saw her a lot in that, and then we got to talk, because I was like, oh, I was in.
She's doing so well, and she just got that big award. For
yes,
the movie,
so yeah,
for
she
Substance.
exactly, and she got the SAG award, and I was very happy for her, because I think she's been around for so long, and she really deserved that. I think she was very good in that movie.
Yes, it's interesting for me to see, because you kind of watch the trends and what's going on with the public and everything, and women that are over 40 are in. I mean, if you saw a lot of the awards that were being given, even those that were up for many of the Academy Awards, it was more mature, and I love seeing her. I'm very excited for her and what's happening. She looks fabulous, but more importantly, I think she feels fabulous, right? So, well, and I'm so glad. And you've done like so many different. So Empire, you were involved with that.
Empire, it was a bit strange, because on Empire, actually, I'd never really had a speaking role, but I was recurring board member for like 6 or 7 seasons. So I was there every week for almost 8 years or something.
I'm gonna go back, because I've known a lot of those that were in Empire, and Alex, who used to own the studio. I used to go over there a lot and kind of watch. He used to kind of invite me. Alex Pisos, the owner. So we were good friends and things like that. So I've, gotten to see behind the scenes. So I'm going to go back and, look at some of those episodes. But congratulations. So now you're also an author, which you've mentioned. So Etta, Estimated Time of Arrest.
Yes.
Okay. And how did you get into jewelry? I mean, it seems like you're flowing with creativity, and you've got the art in the heart, as I say. So tell us a little bit, though, how you decided to get into jewelry now, which is what you're doing.
So that was a direct consequence of the book, which is kind of funny, because the book was already what got me into acting, but that book also got me into creating jewelry. And the reason was that writing a book is a very solitary endeavor. I mean, you become quite antisocial. I am the epitome of social. I love, also that's one of the things that come with being a designer. You get to meet so many awesome people, in the fashion industry, and so I really enjoyed the whole scene. But writing is very different. It's you on your computer and you work for days on end, and that book also was written in English, and it's not my first language, so it really took a lot of extra work in the editing phase, because I didn't want to have this book and have people reading it and being, oh, that's a good story, but clearly this person is not from is not an English speaker. So you
had that kind of in the back of your mind as
well.
So okay,
it took a lot of work to make sure that would not happen.
That's courageous, though.
So when I was done, I just needed to do something that I could see the result of, like, right away.
So curious about that, and I've got to ask you, because I've got a couple of books, and I've started a few of them. I have them in the, but yes, because I'm also one of these people that likes to see results fairly quickly. So how did you achieve that? Where you would tell us the process. Were you working on it certain days, every day, and then how would you achieve that? Because it's a little frustrating.
Yes.
And,
yes. There's some good days and there's some bad days.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different technique. I've spoken with a lot of writers and published authors who were very regimented. For example, they would write Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 12, and then from 4 to 10. Me, no. I had to wait for inspiration to strike. By the time I studied the book, I had no idea. You would have asked me how it was going to end. I had no idea. I just knew like it was a good story from the beginning, but there was one point where
so you didn't outline.
I'm not a very good outliner.
Okay.
No, I go and write, and then eventually, like that's why there's a lot of editing at the end, because there's a lot of things that all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, this is not necessary because I thought we were going in that direction, but that's just the way I write. Yeah, I'm not a very good outliner, and like I said, I didn't even know the ending. But the way that I work with that book is that I had this idea to start with, and I would dream. I literally dreamt of my characters for 2 years straight, and I would go to bed and I would be like, okay, this is where Lartaun, that's my character, where is that right now? And I would literally like dream in episodes, and then there's actually one point where he gets arrested, and I was like, okay, now I put myself in a bit of a pickle, because how do you escape a jail? It's not very easy, and he's got to do it in 24 hours. So for 3 weeks, I was like, okay, this is not going anywhere, and I kept on like
in jail.
Yeah, and I kept on thinking. And one night I was dreaming, and I was like, yes, I just thought of this idea. I was like, well, what if he doesn't actually land in that jail? Because once that door is closed, that's very hard to get out. Mm-hmm. But what if something happens? And then all of a sudden I was like, back on my computer, and then for like 2 weeks straight, like that chapter was like done, and so that's kind of like how.
Okay, so I have to ask, so did you have like a little notebook next to you since you were dreaming all this, and then you'd get up and write it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would write like just a couple of sentences, because I would be so afraid that I would forget it, especially because, like I was telling you, I was dreaming it, and I remember most of my dreams, but still, a dream is a dream, and if you don't get it right when you wake up, like 2 hours later, it becomes fuzzy.
You think it's very clear,
but then
it kind of fades away, right? It's your subconscious, so it's still there, but tapping into it is not that easy. So good for you. What did your husband say when you, like, was he patient about you having this little notebook next to you, or?
No? Oh yeah, I mean that was it wasn't like a huge, like, jotting down a whole story. That would be literally like 4 words. For example, like Lartaun, car, intersection, blah blah blah, accident. And then you're like, okay. And then now I know where where I'm gonna play with. I mean, I wouldn't. But sometimes what I would do is I would remember sentences that people would say, because like the thing that I find is actually the hardest in a book is dialogue. Yes. To make a dialogue that really flows, doesn't feel forced, is very actually hard to do. And sometimes I would just hear someone say something that was like, oh my God, that's got to be in the book, because it's so clever or funny, or so then right there and then you have to type it. But then at the time, it was still like BlackBerry time. I don't know if you had one.
Of course.
And then so I would hear something, and I would just like send myself an email with whatever was just said, and I would use it at some point or not, but I had this little index of sentences and expressions.
And you had to do it. I mean, it was coming from your soul, right?
Yeah.
It was, you were being guided. That is fantastic. I love that. And congratulations on that. So how does that get you to the jewelry?
So yeah, when that was done, like I said, I'd really been working on this for so long, and all my friends would be like, okay, so how's it going? How's the book? And you're like, it's moving. And then it's very frustrating to have nothing to show for it until, even like by the time it's done, you still need to, it needs to go through the process of, looking for an agent, finding an agent, printing this, and then putting it out, whatever. And then that's another lot of delay and stuff. So I just thought I wanted to do something, and also something with my hands. I was like tired of just using my brain for all this time and just typing on a computer. So yeah, I started making jewelry, because I was also like a lot into scuba diving. Still to this day, I love doing that. And so I started making jewelry that was made out of stainless steel, and things that my friends could, or me also, could just wear, even if we go in the ocean and not have to take it off.
Because you're a scuba diver, right? Yeah. I love scuba diving. I haven't been doing it that much recently, but I love scuba diving. I'm certified in everything.
Awesome.
And that's another world. You get lost in there, right? fantastic.
Yeah,
It's,
don't get me started
yeah,
on that.
Me too. Yeah, I know. Time is erased when
Yes.
you're down there, and
Yes.
it's just a fascinating. So that kind of gave you some ideas. I could see that because that's another culture in itself. So I could see that then leading and kind of guiding you as the type of initial jewelry. I could see that.
And then so I started to make them just for friends and stuff. And then I had a friend of mine in Chicago who had a jewelry boutique on Armitage. And one day she said, well, you know what? She's like, why don't you give me a few of your bracelets and then I'll put them in the store and see what happens. And then so I was like, oh, that sounds great or whatever. And then so we did, and they were selling pretty well.
And that was very nice of your friend.
Yeah. And then, she really like, if it hadn't been for her, like I don't think I would have ever, made it a business or even like something that I would really pursue. But then that was in the summer, and then one day I was going to a store. I was bringing her some new bracelets, and then she looked at me and she's like, so what's gonna be your new collection for the fall? And I was like, collection? I don't know. And then I thought, I need to. And then so I moved on from doing these things with these like marine shackles. And I thought, well, how about I make it with leather this time? And that's how I started.
I love that. So you went from it really in your head kind of being a hobby, right?
Oh, totally.
A creative outlet to actually then somebody seeing in you that it was a business. And I have to tell you, so I'm very much in business, and I'm involved in a number of business organizations. And I've got a couple of friends. Some of them are baking, some of them are creating food, some of them other types of food, some of them are designing, etc. And a lot of times your friend, if they're a good friend, will see in you so much more. And I think what I love about Chicago and kind of this community, especially the fashion community, is that we kind of support each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And I encourage people that if you see your friend have some great ability and you think they might be able to do it as a business, not everybody can and not everybody wants to, but I try to encourage them. And sometimes if I do an event or something, or I'll introduce them to somebody, and I think that's so important. A lot of times others see more in you than you see in yourself.
That's very true.
And so if that's the case, then try to encourage
And
people.
sometimes people need a little push. There's
little
people that
push.
just like, right away, let's go. And then others, that need a little bit more.
Yes.
Like, yes, you can do it.
You can do this. And then, okay, so, I'm on the board of the Women's Business Development Center, for example, and a lot of times people will come to me and they'll go, "But what do I do first?" Very simple, like, because they get very stuck in their head. Oh my goodness, I have to get an FEIN number, I have to get Secretary of State. Do I have to do a business plan? It's easy. Let's do this, do that, and business plan is a living thing. Some people don't have a business plan. They're 10 years in their business. Don't let that block you, right? And so those words of encouragement, I'm so glad that helped you move to that next step. And I encourage everybody who's watching this to try to do that if you have a friend that you think has that. So,
and there's something that I wanted to say as well, which I think I am very grateful for, is and you never know, you never say never, but I feel like had I had stayed in Europe, I would have probably continued working in a corporate environment, even though like I was in music, so there was still an artistic capacity, but like not as an artist, like I was working for a record company. But I feel like I would have probably like more stayed in there. What made all this possible is that I feel like there's really a different spirit in America, where people are just, first of all, they're very supporting. I find that in Europe sometimes like people, I'm not saying people are going to bring you down, but for example, like when I first studied, even like my family was like, were you making jewelry? It's like, but you didn't study to make jewelry, you don't know how to make jewelry. I said, well, no, I don't. But
just a narrow view.
What I just started making, people put you in boxes because Europe is an older, place, and it's, you study for it, and your family, if your family is a family of baker, then you would probably be a baker. Here's like, oh my God, go for it, give it a try, and if it doesn't work, do something else. And I love that spirit.
I love that, and I love don't let people put you in boxes.
Yes,
because I have to tell you, especially I think women get put in boxes. I get asked a lot. So I'm a CEO of a tech company, AAR. I do the fashion events that I've done for close to 20 years. And I started doing the podcasts. We have a non-for-profit that we dedicate all the money to, Pivoting in Heels. And people are like, well, how does that work? Like, is that connected or whatever? But I know if I was a man, they wouldn't be asking that.
Of course not.
They're like, oh yeah, of course he can do it, right? So I'm like, it's simple. I use my brain and my context and my passion for
which
what
is
I'm
still
doing.
amazing though, because you do so much stuff. I mean, it's
but
it's
as do you, and we can do it well, right?
Yeah.
If you have the passion and the
Absolutely.
belief behind it. So, but thank you for saying that. And I think Chicago. Thank you for saying that about being here in the U.S., but I think Chicago is also one of those places where you can flourish even more.
Absolutely.
Because it's a tough city. I mean, we're a big city in the United States, but I think people are friendly and willing to help you out, So that's
and
very
also
nice.
like when you think of like the story. I mean, I remember like when I first came to Chicago, I had no idea, and I was working for an American company at the time that was in LA, located in LA, and then so as a French person, I wanted to move to San Francisco or LA or Miami, and like Chicago, and I'm like, in my head, I was just like seeing, this river that's brown with flooding.
People don't realize until they
dead
come here.
bodies,
Yes, that's
and-
so true. That's people don't realize.
Yeah. And then you ask. Still to this day, it's changed because Chicago has actually made has made a much better name for itself, and people now realize how pretty a city it is. But back in the day, it was Al Capone, and that was about it. Like, oh, Chicago, wow,
And still, it's kind of funny because still you travel and people are like, oh, Al Capone, do you know about Al Capone? It's been gone for a little bit, right?
Yes, I know. But then, that was the idea. And I was like, oh, I don't know that. I want to go there of all places. And there was some people from the bands that I was representing, and they were like, oh, no, you're going to love it. They're like, honestly, like if I was not in LA, I'd be in Chicago. And it is very true because now I've been here 26 years. It's longer than I've lived anywhere else in the world, even including in my home country. And sometimes just like everybody, we love to complain about everything. But when people tell me that, well, where would you move now in the States? Because like if it was different place in the world, I mean, there's plenty of other places that I'm thinking, all right, I would go there. But I think about it for a long time, and then. Like, you know what? Chicago's got everything that I need, and I love the people there. For a big city, I just feel like people really, truly are helpful and nice and supporting, and it's something that you don't see much. Like, I mean, go to Paris or New York, it's not like that at all.
Oh no. No, it's not like that. No, it's not.
And so that's something that I really appreciate about this city. Not only it's very beautiful, it's actually an avant-garde. I mean, look at all the skyscrapers and all that. The first ones were here. They were not in New York, even though everybody thinks that they started over there. There's so much architecture, so much history, and so much talent.
So much culture.
Yeah.
We've got some wonderful, obviously, places to eat, incredible museums.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we have a lot of fashion. I tell people, because people are like, how could the people in Chicago, especially women, be fashionable when it's freezing, when it's 20 degrees below zero sometimes? And I say, you know what? We add a lot of clothes, beautiful clothes, layer it, and when we get to a place, we take it off, and even sometimes we change our shoes, and we, do it up. So we're very fashionable, and as you know, you're involved in the fashion industry. Tell me about what you're wearing, actually.
Today, I am actually wearing a design from Nitschka, and the designer, her name is Tanya McKay. She's from Chicago. She is originally from the Ukraine, and but she's super talented. She's a good friend. This is what I'm wearing. The jewelry is mine because it's funny, like most of the time I'll go to events and people I say, oh, I design jewelry. Like, oh, so is that what you're wearing? And then half the time, like, actually, no. I don't represent myself. So
well, you just got a big award though too, didn't you? Tell us about the award that you got. It's Creative Innovation Award from the Fashion Group International, which is actually where I saw you. We didn't get to meet that night. I obviously go, to a lot of their events as well and try to support as many of the fashion events as possible. And congratulations on that.
Yes.
That was a big award.
Thank you so much. And it's funny because what I was obviously like the first award that I ever got in, at least in when it comes to design. But it's very interesting how it opened a lot of doors. I had a big feature in Cranes. So yeah, it's been really good. And then what I really loved is that it's like you're being recognized by your peers, and I don't think that there's anything just as good a feeling as that, and
no, and then other people get to know about you, which I think is really wonderful.
Right.
Well, your jewelry is beautiful. I'm curious, do you come out with a collection every year, or how often do you come out with a collection?
No, I'm very bad that way. And I mean, I'm very bad that way. If I had to present a collection, I would put it all together and do a collection. But right now, I pretty much only sell via my website and a couple of boutiques. So I don't have to, nobody's telling me what to do.
Collection, right.
So
which is a nice thing.
That's a nice thing. It's very organic. Like you were saying, I have also the luxury at this point that I'm not big enough that I have to have a collection. I've got to drop this and make. I make everything myself right now, so I really, that's kind of my idea. I never say never. If Neiman Marcus is listening and wants to carry my line, that's something I would love to do. Other than that, I'm definitely not planning. I don't want to be everywhere. That's not my idea.
Well, the other part of that is then your pieces are very unique.
Right.
Because you're involved in each one of them.
I make every single one
wonderful.
of them. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I look at myself more as an artisan than because what I love is the process of making the jewelry.
And what inspires you? Tell me, do you dream about some of the jewelry? I'm just curious.
Yes, a lot. For example, so when I started working a lot with leather, and I was, following that bracelet thing, and then so I was doing leather for a long time, like almost 10 years, and then from starting with, making mostly cuffs and bracelets, then I expanded to doing bags and belts and eventually like even like some tops and stuff. And then boom, came COVID and everything just kind of like disappeared overnight. And obviously like my business really suffered from that time. And I was kind of thinking, all right, maybe, it's time to go and move on, do something else. And then again, this one night I was dreaming because I was thinking, first of all, like one of the problems with leather is that it's heavy. And I used to do a few fashion shows, and I remember, obviously, like, I don't do dainty. My jewelry is pretty bold, pretty big. And so I had the models wearing like very big earrings. And they're getting ready to go onto the runway. And there's one lady who's holding their in her hand. I was like, you're not ready? I'm like, we're going now. She's like, oh, no. She's like, I'll put them on in like 10 seconds. She's like, I'm so sorry, they're so heavy. And that's when I thought, okay, if they're too heavy for a model, and models can pretty much like wear anything. And it's only
like
for
80 pounds.
And it's only for like, a 30-second walk. The fact that happened, I was like, how can I even pretend to be selling them? It's just something, they look great, but nobody's going to be able to wear them because even if they want it, they can't wear it.
Right.
And so
it's like some of my Christian Louboutin shoes. I'm just kidding.
It's true. Like, there's some things that are just amazing, but it's just like so uncomfortable, right? So I was thinking, I was already do I continue? Do I do not continue? And then also I was thinking all the time, and then I thought, well, maybe I could do like, what is the material that comes to mind? Plastic, but plastic is like, ugh, it's not exciting. And then one night, I dreamt about rubber, and I thought, oh, this is fun. And then what if, because I started also working towards the end with gemstones. I just started working with gemstones, and I thought, rubber and gemstones. Now that's kind of cool, because that's unexpected.
Right.
And see, like, you can do these things, and people that don't know, I see like in boutiques and stuff, they always kind of approach it thinking it's gonna be, it's metal and it's gonna be super heavy, and then all of a sudden they see that it's rubber, and then it's just
you want to touch it. It's a cool
so
feel.
Easy. And then you don't have, most of my stuff, you don't have clasps, so literally, like, sometimes it's annoying, like, when
it kind of reminds me of scuba diving, though.
Again, right, it goes back. It's got that feel, and you can definitely wear them on the water too. I'm always saying, in the summer, like, pool it, you go by the pool, that's kind of cool, because.
So those came in a dream.
Yes, and then so I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I had to like find, it's fine to say, okay, I'm going to use rubber, but how does it work? It was not a material that I worked with before. So I just kind of like, improvised and worked with it. And then I kind of came up with like a small collection. And then all of a sudden, like overnight, it was like my business was back. And now that's kind of how people recognize me with, like, when they see someone.
How did you get the word out? How did people know? Was it social media? Was it your friends? Was it?
Yes, for the most part, social media, but also I know a lot of people, and we were talking about that. That's very important, because you can kind of pass the word around.
You got to communicate.
Yes.
I have a lot of people that go into business and then they don't tell anybody what they're doing. It's like they're expecting it to come, and you've got to get out there. And I know I'm very social as well, although I need my alone time as well. But and people are like, "Are you out partying?" I'm really not. I'm doing business, because you've got to be connecting, and the dots may not connect as directly. But for example, when you start something new, or you've got something that you're very passionate about, you go back to those people and you share it with them, right? So that's great. I know that's really important for entrepreneurs. So I know we've asked you to style a little bit.
Yes.
We've got 4 different looks that we were asking you to style. Tell us kind of why you chose what you chose. So I know the first one that we chose was something a little bit more casual.
Yes. So it was very funny to see that picture, because at first I was like, okay, I don't think that this lady would want to buy my stuff, because I feel like it's not necessarily like goes with the vibe. But at the same time, I thought, well, I can go back into what I used to do before. And for example, I feel like this lady, this kind of romantic, frilly aspect of her look, but I can see her also, like, she's wearing like little clogs, but she could have, maybe like some cowboy boots, and then want to go a little more Western. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And then so this is from an older collection that's still like from my leather work, and I feel like that could be really, really fun, because it's got a little bit of like romantic feel, like the suede, and I feel like suede and ruffles always kind of
I like it,
together.
And the Western look is so in right now.
Yes.
So
now I was thinking also, if we want to go a little more, reserved, not so like out there, because it still is a pretty big piece. I was thinking that she doesn't need much, because she already, like, the ruffles speak for themselves. There's a lot going on. There's a little bit of the lace at the bottom and all that. So again, keeping like in a little bit of like the Western feel, like prairie. I thought maybe like a simple necklace with an equestrian feel would be kind of nice. And finally, I thought, okay, if we want to go like more
feminine, it's almost more feminine
and all that.
Flowers.
So I thought this could be fun, because it still is fairly small, so it's not going to attract too much attention, The earrings probably a little bit more, but I feel like, you know, I like the camellia look, so it's flowery, so that kind of like goes with the romantic feel of the outfit. So yeah, I was thinking if she wants to be a little more put together, and then maybe even wear that dress more on a date night type of thing, then she could accessorize it with this type of
she
look.
could do a darker purse and darker shoes or something to tie it all in. Very pretty.
So
I love the rose theme there.
Thank you.
It's very pretty.
Yes.
So tell us, with that, what would you do?
So I was thinking with that lady, I love that she's wearing some bright hues, and I love it. Like today, obviously, I'm very like beige, and then that's not very much what I wear. I love color. Orange is my favorite color, so I kind of like that look. It kind of reminded me, it's a little Gucci, a little.
And we sent each other a message today, because I normally don't like wearing just black or just one in YouTube, but we coordinated.
Yes.
It somehow coordinated. So yes, but.
And I really wanted to wear something from a fellow designer. So
that has a lot of patterns in it. So tell me why you ended up choosing this.
So what I thought is that, yes, this lady, she's got a lot going on. I think she even carries 2 bags. I mean, so that there's a lot going on. But I'm thinking, okay, if she's already full on, let's add some more. Why not? Let's not be scared. I feel like I wanted something that was complementing with the color scheme. So I used to make a lot of like leather work, and what made me people recognize my work for leather, because leather work is leather work, but it's because I used a lot of very bright colors, whereas a lot of people use leather like black, brown, and then that's pretty much the extent of it. So what I was thinking with this lady is I can totally see her wearing a choker. So this is one, and again, it's kind of like equestrian theme, but so that's kind of like
that's a great
how
piece.
it looks, and I feel like that would look really good on her. And then after that, I would just accessorize it with, you know, some wraparound bracelets.
And I always think that this tone of leather, I consider it a neutral.
It is.
You know,
it's
it's wonderful, because even though you've got all those different patterns, that ends up being a neutral.
Yeah, and it's bright, but it will go with anything. Like even like this, boom, that brings some nice, and it still is a color that looks polished. These are actually, you know, when we were talking about those bracelets that I started making, well, these were the ones.
Okay.
So these I've been making them, and it's the collection is called Signature. And it is very appropriate, because it literally is one of my most popular collections. I mean, I do cuffs and wraparounds and all that, but with that shackle, and it's still like over 12 years later, it still is one of my most popular. I mean, I still sell a lot of those. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
You created your own classic. You know, I love that.
So I feel like that could be also like quite nice.
That's gorgeous.
That's, you know, for a bridal.
What is the stone that's in there?
It's a Baroque pearl.
That's so pretty.
It's a fresh water pearl.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
all of these are like genuine.
They're very light.
Yes. And that's
oh my goodness.
That's kind of cool, you know, because you can wear them all day, and then.
Yeah, I like this. It's very light and it's beautiful. Because one of the things, you know, that you could use because you're getting married, or a lot of times now you're seeing a lot of white on the runway or on the red carpet. You know, that women are just wearing it because they can, and it's so wonderful. And then when you accessorize it, that can change your whole look.
Yeah.
And that's why we were showing, you know, you've just changed the look, and they could get several looks out of one.
And the thing that is fun with this one is it's a cage, so you can open it.
Oh,
and then
my
you can
goodness.
remove the pearl. You can replace it with something else.
Okay.
Like, you know, if you want to put some, I don't know, like a.
Oh,
like
so you can
you're wearing a red outfit, and you want to put like
Yes.
And then also same with this one.
And you could wear it without, even if you wanted to.
Exactly, you can wear it empty. And this one is the same. It also has a bail that is removable, so you can wear it like this. But if you wanted to wear it with a regular chain, a metal chain, you can. So it's several, you know, necklaces in one.
That's so important, you know, for people to know. That's really wonderful.
I do a lot of my jewelry. I try to be, you know, fairly whimsical and really like give the person the chance to wear it a lot of different ways. Like this one is the same.
Can be worn, is very eclectic,
Yeah.
right? So I have to ask you, Delphine.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, because you go, I love this. You're such an artist, and you're actor. You go from a writer, and then you're a designer of jewelry. You've got this fabulous personality. Just gorgeous. And then you've got these goats and you've got chickens. Okay, I want you to talk a little bit about these goats and these chickens that are at your house that you were telling me about. I was like, I love this, especially with the price of eggs. I love this. So how did that part get started? And then you're actually growing some of your own vegetables and everything.
Yes.
I think that's so important for people to know that, because, I'm sure people think, this glamorous woman, which you are, but you've got this earthy side to you. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about that.
I know that's something that always make people laugh, because if they don't know me, or that they'll see me at an event or something, and then of course fashion. First of all, we always love dressing.
Yes.
I usually use any cocktail party as an excuse is really to wear something cool.
Yeah.
But
honestly, sometimes that's why we go, right?
Well, of course, and that's exactly what I was. I mean, you have things to show up. Sometimes I don't really want to go, but hey, I've got this. Sometimes putting a good outfit that just pumps you to go somewhere. But yeah, even okay, this is how I dress to come over here. But this morning, it's Sunday. So I was with my goats and I was cleaning the house and I was preparing, the treats for the chickens, and so that's what I had my outdoor clothes, my farm clothes.
And you told me you're growing your vegetables and you've got this whole system. Tell us, what did you call it?
So it's called hydroponics.
Okay, hydroponics.
And then so basically it's a way of growing vegetables and plants without the soil. So we do that on our roof. I've got to say, the whole idea of the farm, it really stems from my husband. He's really the one who loves that. I mean, I embrace the whole concept, and I think that there's nothing better than eating your own eggs, and our tomatoes taste amazing.
Oh, it sounds wonderful to me.
And we just know where our food comes from, and also we produce a lot, so we can give it to a lot of our friends. And
so you're into being healthy, and you're into So I just want to know, and tell us the names of the two goats.
Oh.
Because from what I understand, two male goats, right?
Yes.
And I asked you, are they like dogs? Are they like your pets? And you said that they're like...
Yeah, they think they're humans.
They think they're humans.
Yeah. They've got all their friends. They've got their favorite. They recognize. They've got a very good sense of memory. So all our animals, they name after artists, because we come from, like I was telling you, I've got a background in music, and my husband owned a record label for the longest time. So we've always worked in music. So all our animals, they have names of artists.
Okay.
So our goats, we've got Angus.
Angus.
That's named after the guitar player from AC/DC. We've got Lemmy, named after Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead. And then we've got a whole bunch of other chickens, from Blondie to Bjork to
I love that.
So,
all of it. No, thank you. And thank you so much for being here with us. You're just,
oh my God, pleasure.
You're an amazing person. I'm so glad we pursued you to be on here.
It's my pleasure.
I remember when I saw you get the award, and then I saw some of your jewelry, and I said, we've got to, get her on the podcast. So thank you so much for being here. I think it's such a treat. I do want you to tell us one thing, though. It's Chic Innovator. So is there one piece of art, of jewelry, of something that you carry with you all the time that is an important, staple for you? Or do you go in depending on the moment?
Yeah, no. I go depending on the moment, I would say, because I mean, yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but I also love painting. But painting is kind of hard to carry, like a whole painting with you. But like I said,
you didn't bring your paintings.
And here's what I just happened to be walking with it.
Have it.
No, but even I was telling you earlier. Half the time I'll go to an event and people are like, oh, this is what you make, right? And I'm like, oh no, that's Swarovski, or that's, and then I'm just always really bad at, because usually when I make the jewelry, the intent is like, it's for sale and it takes long enough to make it and whatever. So then I'm not, I don't know. I don't usually like wear my own jewelry, but then I'm thinking, okay, who else than me? I should be wearing it every day, because everybody always tells me, oh, you make jewelry, that's awesome. Is that yours? And I'm like, oh no, actually. So now I make a little bit more of not an effort, because it's not an effort, but to actually like wear some of the work that I make.
Well, I know the one thing that you have that is very special is your spirit, your energy. I can just feel it. Thank you for being with us. We say here, this space with Chic Innovator are for, fascinating topics, fascinating people that have style and are innovative, and you are sure that. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. And you are also an impressive person with all what you do, and not to do a little shameless plug, because I don't know if that will happen before or whatever, but like your Mad Hatter party, I'm very much
we're excited.
looking forward to it, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
I just got my new hat for it, so I can't wait. So.
I have not, but I've got an idea, because I've got a fascinator, and it's hard to wear fascinators these days.
It is.
So I think I have to wear it.
You can also wear a piece of jewelry. We just put out a post, just little pieces of jewelry in your hair. Mm-hmm. So, but thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for watching Chic Innovator. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free.